a lot of brands make the mistake of is not communicating to their consumer in a one-to-one personalized manner,
Yeah.
right? They're doing a lot of action blast campaign sends, but they're not really focusing on their flows.
It's an era of skintellectuals. Everyone's obsessed with formulations, and you just spoke about Siren Capsule Technology. So, how do you market a complex science so it is easy for everyday shopper to understand and buy into?
Education is the most important thing for us. We want to show that we have a unique technology with the Siren Capsule Technology, and we try to showcase how it's distinct versus other unique technologies or ingredients out there. We're starting to see conversions coming through the chat GPTs, and as consumers start to utilize those technologies more, I think it's important for brands to start to think around how they're presented on those platforms and how they can be more visible on those platforms.
This is the Digital Shelf Insider podcast of MetricsCart. The beauty market is a crowded, commoditized place to a great extent right now. It's a $1 trillion machine when 99% of brands burn through cash just trying to buy a customer's attention for 5 seconds. But how do you take a high-end luxury skincare brand, protect that ultra-premium DNA, and somehow scale it globally at lightning speed? It definitely does not come by following a standard e-commerce playbook. It comes with ruthless R&D, data analytics, and marketing that really sticks through. Today, I'm sitting down with Ankit Patel, the Senior VP of Global Growth at Beauty. We're going to strip away the fluff and look into what it actually takes to scale a premium brand today. We're breaking down the marketing of their Siren Capsule Technology, the real math behind customer lifetime value, why a subscription model is probably trapping users instead of building loyalty, and the exact metrics e-commerce leaders are completely blind to right now. Let's get started. Hi, Ankit. Welcome to Dish to Shelf Insider. I'm so thrilled to have you here. And it's always amazing to have somebody join me from the brand world because most of the guests who join me are e-commerce professionals. So we get to discuss a lot about the industry developments, the changes, and what sort of optimizations brands need to do on the digital front. But when somebody joins me from the brand world, it's more of what's happening, what's the reality like. So thrilled to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat with you too.
Right. I'm curious about you beauty, the kind of the shoppers that are there, and what does the digital ecosystem look like for you beauty? And I have a couple of questions. So let's get started. You beauty is a luxury beauty brand in a very crowded marketplace. There are uh, beauty brands of all sizes, all sorts, but different skin problems and different age groups and all of that. So, how do you sort of balance keeping a high-end exclusive feel while pushing for fast growth?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely our we don't like to promote like from a discounting perspective. So we try to maintain our product value by showing efficacy of the product to the consumer as well as education. Education is the most important thing for us. We want to show that we have a unique technology with the Siren Capsule Technology, and we try to showcase how it's distinct versus other unique technologies or ingredients out there. Most luxury skincare brands focus on peptides or ingredients, and so us having this encapsulation technology, which I'm sure we'll dive into a little bit more later, is really a unique value proposition and a unique selling point for a lot of our consumers. We also definitely do target a little bit older of a demographic, so that Gen X, late millennial consumers really are target audience.
Great. And I heard in one of the videos where Tina, the founder, shared about It's an era of skin intellectuals. Everyone's obsessed with formulations. And you just spoke about Siren Capsule Technology. So, how do you market a complex science so it is easy for everyday shopper to understand and buy into?
Yeah, I think we educate through visuals a lot of the time. So we have some really great animations of how the technology actually works. And we also market it in layman's terms. So we utilize analogies. For example, we have a great weed killer analogy, right? So it's only going to impact the areas of his skin where there's damage, similar to a weed killer, right? It's not going to impact the healthy areas. So, we utilize, similar kind of analogies, and I think really our visual messaging is the main way that we distinctly kind of share the value proposition of Siren Capsule Technology.
All right, before we get back into the conversation, I just want to take a moment to talk about something that can really elevate the way you manage your e commerce channels. If you're in the consumer goods or durable space, listen up. You already know that staying ahead in the digital marketplace is crucial, whether you're a retailer, brand, or agency. But how do you get the most accurate insights in real time? How do you keep track of competitor price activity, consumer trends, and constant changes in product visibility? That's where MetricsCart comes in. MetricsCart is a marketplace intelligence platform designed specifically for e-commerce teams like yours. It gives you a holistic, data-driven view of your performance across all digital shelves. Whether it's price monitoring, competitive analysis, or understanding trends before they become a wave, MetricsCart has you covered. I've seen firsthand how this kind of intelligence takes brands from just surviving to thriving. If you're managing products in the consumer goods or durable space, it's a game changer. Check them out, and I promise you, your e commerce game won't be the same. Now, let's get back to the show. You are also going to be speaking at the e-commerce next show very soon about customer lifetime value. In your experience, what is the biggest mistake you see brands, especially beauty brands, making today when they're trying to increase their CLV?
Yeah, I think two things, right? Promotion, it's a drug, right? A lot of brands will undervalue their product and start to really be heavily promotional. And at the end of the day, a consumer, once they get one promotion, they want to continue to receive that. So that's one thing which we're really, really focused on not doing is driving sales through promotion, especially as a luxury skincare brand. I think the second thing that a lot of brands make the mistake of is not communicating to their consumer in a one-to-one personalized manner,
Yeah.
right? They're doing a lot of action blast campaign sense, but they're not really focusing on their flows.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really, really an important area is personalization, right? Especially when a consumer is buying, $180, $200 product. It's really important that you're creating that personal relationship. I liken it to a department store. You walk into a department store and you know the people behind the counters a lot of the time because you're purchasing from them so frequently. And
Yeah.
so we're trying to establish that through a digital communication strategy.
Makes sense. Uh, you've also shared great insights on keeping customers around and how a bad cancellation process can hurt a brand. How do you design subscription programs that actually make people want to stay rather than feel trapped? In the sense that we all want minimal routines right now. Probably it was back in COVID when people had this full-fledged 10-step skincare routine and stuff.
Yeah, I think, we try to have opportunities for surprise and delight for the consumer, right? Where they're not expecting a free gift, but when we offer them something to try and to try to expand their routine, it's a great cross-sell opportunity for us too. In addition to that, I would say, that we always kind of communicate around the regimen too, right? Like where they're at within that skin evolution process and how they can evolve further. And so we make sure that all the content that we send to our subscription customers is heavily educational focused
Yeah.
versus focusing on the discount.
Yeah, I think that really matters for older generations too, I guess, like having that educational aspect as well as knowing the exact regimen that works for them, for their skin type.
Yeah, definitely.
And we also see that many premium brands worry that selling on too many platforms will ruin their luxury image. So, how does U Beauty approach selling across different channels like Amazon or third party retailers while protecting the brand's premium value?
Yeah, I think it comes back to the discounting piece, right? So Amazon, we sell full price. We only have really discounts during Prime Day. Same with our Sephora partnership. We're only going to promote the brand and do discounting during the Sephora savings event. So we really, really ensure that any of the partners that we work with are not undervaluing the brand and, making sure that um, they are, really uh, showcasing the education behind the product too.
Definitely. And your day-to-day role would require you to work with a lot of data. And we also see a lot of data and insights when we work with consumer brands. Um, so you know exactly what numbers to look at too. So besides CLV, what is one metric you think every e-commerce growth leader should be paying close attention to right now?
Margin. At the end of the day, profitability is king. So really ensuring that you're running a profitable business and that you know your CAC and what your margin's gonna be for a consumer on that first order
Yeah.
is really, really important. I think a lot of brands they struggle with growth at all cost, right? And they wanna see this hockey stick curve. At the end of the day, that's not a sustainable business. So
Yeah.
really focusing on profitability is key and paramount.
For sure. And I have one last question for you, well, before we end this episode. So, right now, a lot has changed with product discovery, and this is something I often ask my guests lately. Uh, what are your thoughts on AI? How are things gonna evolve in this space?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for brands to utilize AI within the customer journey, right? From a search perspective, I think AEO is really important for brands to start to think about. We're starting to see conversions coming through the chat GPTs, and as consumers start to utilize those technologies more, I think it's important for brands to start to think around how they're presented on those platforms and how they can be more visible on those platforms. So, looking at your schema markup and making sure that it's optimized from an AEO perspective, understanding, how your site search is being used and chat is being used, and if there's any opportunities to implement AI within those areas of the site. It's really important for businesses. And then obviously from a day-to-day perspective as an e-commerce operator, there's a lot of automation and efficiency that you can gain utilizing AI now. We built a lot of tools out using Claude and the co-work feature, and so we have dashboards and things along those lines that we're using on a regular basis. So AI is here to stay, at the end of the day. I don't think that anyone, can say otherwise. It's not people are fearful that it's gonna replace jobs. I look at it as an opportunity to aid and assist and make your job more efficient, and I think that that's really, how other operators should look at it too.
100%. I completely agree with you on that. Um, Ankit, thank you so much for taking out the time to join me today. It was a pleasure having you, and I really like the points you stressed about. Being very careful with discounting and looking into profitability and margins. Thank you so much for taking out the time.
Thank you.